What could non-technical people do today? Like, what kind of mindset can they shift to when building? Going beyond the generic, summarize my email, check my email, from a builder's point of view.
Welcome to Fire Talks by Tech Wing Bites. I'm Clint. I've built software, led teams, and now a founder, helping builders who are ready to make the leap, but can't quite see the path yet. Every episode is one conversation closer to clarity on ownership, execution, and momentum.
Welcome to Fire Talks. Today, we're going to dive into the mindset of builders, building, and trying to convey all of their goodness to non-technical people, the challenges of that. Try to take away the gatekeeping mindset around, hey, I'm a builder, look what I've built, and try to explain that in as much layman terms as possible. Tony, give us a little plug here about yourself. And then
like you said, CEO of Overbuilt. What we really aim to do is actually kind of make a community of businesses. So we do that through the invoicing and estimates plane. What we're really trying to do is make sure that whenever people are actually starting a business or even running a business, there's the certain parts of that business that they don't necessarily want to do. And we're trying to take that pain, that pressure off so that they can really focus on the things that they actually love.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tony. David?
Yeah, so my name is David Diom, long-term technology executive and computer science, electrical engineering background, and entrepreneur. And out there building cool stuff that we'll talk about soon.
Wonderful. All right, so diving in the theme for today, like really exposing the builder's mindset, right? We get excited about the fancy tools, what's going on in the news. We try to apply that to our build. We get excited and then we share it with our friends and family. Usually they're non-technical, but they don't feel the excitement, right? And a lot of times when we get to that point of completion, now we struggle with the go-to-market part. Like all of us kind of run through that. So the question is, let's start off with this question, and of course you can take it where you want it to go. But what is one tool, app, or feature that you start to build and you think it was useful? It's the greatest thing in the world, but it turns out to be very useless, or maybe even over-engineered for the people using it, whether it be end users, your friend, your partner, or whatever. For me, mine is a tool that I built called Personal PM Flow, and I had dreams to put it into the App Store, and I built it pretty much the way that I work. And then I was like, well, there's so much, personal management tools and task management tools out there, and this is built for personal, so it's not scaling to teams. Why even put in the effort? And so in my head, I felt that I paused it, and I use it every day. I'm using it now, like it's distracting my time and everything. It's great for me, but when I first thought about it, I thought it was going to be great for everyone. But after taking some reflection, I was like, maybe not that much. But how about you guys?
I got the perfect one. So shout out to New York Knicks, Knicks fans. I mean, I got to do it. Parade was today. The parade was today. Couldn't make it there, but I got to give a shout out right now. But it actually kind of revolves around basketball. So one of my first, I guess one of the apps that I built was it was called Pickup Sports. And basically the idea behind it was, you would go log in, you would find places that would actually have pickup games running around, right? I was, again, a big basketball fan. What I didn't realize is me growing up in New York, going out to pick up games was real easy. Like there's basically a basketball court virtually every corner, right? Maybe you have to walk a couple, maybe like 5 blocks before you hit, but there's always a game going on. Weather's a little bit different. When I got to Texas, not the same thing, right? There's parks are further away from each other. You got to drive everywhere you got to go. Obviously, the weather outside matters. So the idea I had was, build something that would help people set up a pickup sport, pickup game And field games are anywhere you go. The scale of it, I didn't realize how little they had outdoor courts in certain spots. Like, right, so I realized, so once I started building it in Texas, I realized, that, oh yeah, this isn't necessarily the same type of problem as when I'm living in the city, right, in Chicago. And when I was living in Chicago, because the idea came up when I was living in Chicago. But I moved to Texas and I was like, oh, let me continue with this. But, finding that the market itself wasn't really there for it. It was humbling. Right? You take build it, he's like, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing. And,
the fallacy of build it and they will come.
Yeah, no, yeah. No. This is not the field of dreams. I think broken dreams.
That's actually, I don't know, man. I think there's actually probably a lot of value to that, not just in basketball, but also with volleyball and soccer.
The second part to that though is you have to find the space. Like there's not a lot of outdoor space. You can't just park for it. I mean, you can, but there's logistics behind that. So
I think I don't know how you were architecting it, but I know the way that my wife's and her groups work with volleyball. They know different courts they'll broadcast out to a large group of people. It's like, hey, we're gonna go and play at X time at X court, and people that can make it, and people that don't. If you had an app that kind of did that, it's like people would say, hey, this is a sport I'm interested in, this is my location, this is how far I'm willing to travel. Anybody that posts a pickup game in that proximity, I want to know about it. It's an interesting idea.
Maybe I'll roll back to it.
How do you monetize it though? I mean, it has to be through ads. But
it'll be ad revenue. Like there's no real way to monetize that outside. Like I don't think there's not something that people are going to pay subscriptions for, right?
Yeah, and that rolls back into that's maybe a side gig thing. That's not a
I'm running a business.
The concept before New York versus Texas is the proximity to where you can always find a place to ball is a lot closer, and is many of them. I experienced that myself. But in Texas, I think it's a little bit further, and you need a car. But I agree with David. I think the desire to get out the house is more into something active and fun socially.
Yeah,
I hope that's true. I'm betting on it.
Well, except you and me, we're home buddies. But I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes, I'll go watch a pickup game. Like I would probably use the app just to kind of go out and have kind of like a pre-sporting event, so to speak, versus to play. When I lived in Arizona, we did that. We were looking for basketball areas where we can go and do a little 1-on-1, 21 if it's just 1-on-1, or a small 3-on-3. But volleyball, to David's point, exists. There's a place here by me called Hanover's, and they have like a backyard for volleyball. You know what I mean? So and so volleyball is one, and I think the new trend. What do you call that thing? It's like pickleball. Yeah, that seems to be the hot one right there.
Pickleball is a hot thing right now. Like it's there's so many of them popping up all over the place.
Yeah, for sure. So how about you, David?
Oh man, I was trying to think about this while Tony was talking. I don't have any where I just built something that I thought it wasn't useful or it needed to be abandoned. But there are definitely, when I was younger, there were some business ventures that I started on and I developed that I didn't see through just because I didn't understand, sales and customer acquisition, like just zero understanding of it. And the one that's really coming to mind is a product that we called Captive Cafe. And this was in the 2005, 2006 timeframe. We were using a firewall product called Monowall that we were installing on very small PCs. using they were called a mini ATX board, and we had these really small cases. I mean, we're talking about something that's like probably maybe like the size of a Pop-Tart, which was tiny for back then. And it had captive portal capability inside of it. And so we had the ability, and I built it out where you could put your menu or whatever else it is that you wanted as a cafe, and so as soon as you connect to the internet, that's what you were greeted with, and you had to agree to the terms of service for using their internet. And we went out and marketed that to a number of people. I went out and discussed that with a number of cafes, coffee shops, restaurants, etc. in the area, and none of them bid on it. So we just kind of abandoned it, and we never pushed it. And now you can't go to a hotel, a restaurant, or a cafe that doesn't have one of those things in place. Like, man, that was mine. Like I did this 10 years before these were popular, but just didn't.
So what was the signal that made you want to stop?
Not under I was at the time I was just a computer scientist. I didn't really have the business background that I have now, and so just going and talking to several people, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that's not really for me. I don't see the purpose of that. There's no point in doing that. Just kind of was discouraging. We're just like, all right, this wasn't a good idea, and so we just backed out of it.
Yeah. And it's like you understand people now more, and it seemed like it's a blindness of the market. Like Tony's like, yo, the market is different, and you're like, man, is their market right? And I think mine was the same. Is their market as well? And listening to you guys talk reminded me of one that I did start. I pulled in 5 people right after college, and we was doing the whole 9. We had the logo, we were doing the business, and then I said, guys, we got to stop because this other competitor has way more capital, way more everything than me, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Everybody's like, well, Clint, since you don't know, all right, and everybody dropped. That was the biggest mistake I have made. And I learned from that. I don't think that was a market thing. That was a lack of experience and confidence thing, right?
Yeah. And so it wasn't directly what you asked, but I think that with the captive cafe products, like the thing, we were going out and we were presenting a solution to people, right? And that is the absolute wrong way to sell something. You don't go and tell them, hey, look, we have a solution to a problem that you didn't know you had. You have to go out and you have to like, hey, are you experiencing these pain points, right? And get them to sell themselves on it, not
So what are their problems? Yeah, that's those things that
Right. So, and using AI to build, as far as the end user is concerned, it's no different. But when it comes to us builders, there's a strong mental load, right? Not only do you have to fight with those same challenges you mentioned, you still now have to fight with, is it easy for them to understand? Right? You go through the stress of the building, the stress of like this, the marketing. Are they coming? AI now tells non-technical people to use AI for the basic things, such as summarizing your email. But I think it's beyond that today. You know what I mean? So I wanted to ask, what could non-technical people do today? Like what kind of mindset can they shift to when building, going beyond the generic summarize my email, check my email, and those things from a builder's point of view?
And you're asking an interesting question there, Clint. I think that the number one thing that people getting into building, a piece of software today using OOMs is, okay, sure, go out and build your prototype.
Right.
But then start asking, okay, what are the things I don't know? And you're just gonna have to take a deep dive into the computer science world. It's easier because you don't have to actually write the code, but you need to understand it. You need to understand what you're doing after you get past that prototype phase, and just keep iterating on it and getting better. But understanding that until you understand those things, it's just going to be a prototype.
Right. I mean, but are they? if they're building a prototype that's actually useful for them right now, do they have to worry about all of the SDLC points when building?
Well, okay, so yes, I think that even more so, because if you're just building it for yourself and you don't know what you're exposing yourself to, I mean, look at all the supply chain hacks that are happening right now. Like, what are you opening yourself up personally to by doing that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah, my take on it is kind of like, if you're talking about people that never really done AI and kind of getting into that whole, I want to build something, right? Then to me, it feels as if they understand what they want to build, then they just need to ask certain types of questions, right? Besides, I want to build this, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you start from, I want to build, for example, I want to build some app for a phone, which warns me about, actually I have this, so I have this fire alarm right here, right? So this warns me about a fire alarm in my house, right? Now, this is a bit more complicated, obviously, but if you want to build something, right, it's like you have to figure out what those steps are to get to that point. You just want to figure out, how do I tie in, and how do I even get an alert?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's probably some things that allow you to do that. Okay, well, now I know how to do it, or I know what it takes to do it. Well, how can I do it securely? Because, like David said, when you're doing these things and you're opening yourself up, you don't want to give complete unfettered access to things that are personal, or things to your, tied to your home, right? So obviously you want to ask the questions about security. If we're talking about things at home. Now, if we're talking about things where, oh yeah, I'm just going out and I'm just trying to find a nice restaurant to eat that I've never been to before, right? Something like that. Yeah, the security implications there are not necessarily as stringent, but they're still necessary.
Right.
What happens?
Go ahead.
So if you build this application and it's running natively on your desktop, for instance, right, or your phone, what else does your phone have access to? That's where you start getting into trouble.
Right.
Yeah, your application gets a malicious npm package on it or something like that. Then what is it going to take? Who knows? So I think that people using LLMs to go and build prototypes is great, and I think that I encourage people to go do that. But I think that once you've committed to that, you need to commit to the next step, which is, hey, I'm going to go learn about this stuff now. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a ton of fun building and succeeding and making these things work. But it's a lifelong venture. It's not just I'm going to go tell an LLM to create a thing and then walk away from it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like stuff like, also, a while ago I was learning how to do some like clay molding and sculpting, right? There's certain aspects where it's like, oh yeah, I want to go get to the the finished product, but like, no, you have to make the wire frame. You have to start building on that frame, because otherwise, if you just kind of build it out without doing that, it'll fall apart.
But the excitement of getting to that finish line,
yeah, I get it,
right here the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to fight that off and then focus on what you're doing, plus the other blind spots you don't have. For most average builders, is security, right? Like that's challenging.
Security,
and you guys, and myself included, right? Like, I'm building and I'm trying not to let those things distract me or prevent me from getting to what I'm calling done in a phase, in a step. Here's a trick that I do. I have an alarm goes off every 15 minutes. It wakes me up. It's an annoying alarm, but the alarm is that, hey, it's a mindset thing. It's like, what did you accomplish in the last 15 minutes? So I don't go off on tangents. Go ahead.
Are you familiar with? Oh, go ahead, Tony.
I'm not gonna lie. That sounds stressful.
It is.
I couldn't do that.
But it's like, so I can keep going. You're right. Yeah, like I want to get it done because sometimes I get caught up. Like, what about this? What about that? The new shiny thing. Faded news.
Oh yeah. I could see the shiny thing with you, Clint. Are you familiar with the Dunn Manifesto? Have you ever read that before?
The Dumb Manifesto.
No, Dunn, D-O-N-E.
Yeah, Dunn.
No, I haven't.
Oh man.
I
Okay.
feel like I've
So
heard
this is basically in direct contradiction of what we've been talking about, but it's the cult of Dunn Manifesto, right? Let's kind of go through the key points of it here. So, not knowing action and completion, except that everything is a draft, it helps to get things done. There is no edit stage. Pretending you know what you're doing is almost the same as knowing what you're doing. So it's just accept that you know what you're doing, even if you don't, and do it. Banish procrastination. If you wait more than a week to get an idea done, abandon it. The point of being done is not to finish, but to get other things done. Once you're done, you can throw it away. Laughing at perfection. Laugh at perfection as boring. And keep yours from being done. And keeps you from being done. People without dirty hands are wrong. Doing something makes you right. Failure counts as done, so do mistakes. Destruction is a variation of done. If you have an idea and publish it on the internet, that counts as a ghost of done. Done is the engine of more.
Some of these are real, man. Some of these are real.
I know they're done like to be funny, but yeah, some of them are actually kind of like they make sense.
Yeah, I think kind of all of them make sense to a point. I mean, the faking it until you making it one, I think is pretty well accepted as being a thing. Maybe not always the best idea, but I mean, so I think going back to what Clint was, what originally brought this all up was people going out and building their own tools even though they're not technologists. And I think that's great. You don't know what you don't know. I mean, the unknown unknowns are, that's always a constant in life. There's tons of things that we don't know that we probably need to know right now, involving technology even. So you just have to, you can't let that stop you. You just have to go.
Yeah, you just have to do. Yeah. You just do it. Because if you have that concept, right? If you have that idea, go ahead and do it. Go ahead. It's better than not, right? And not knowing, right? So
absolutely. The mindset is something for us to carry, right? Something that we have to build some sort of mental model and say, hey, when I'm building, I need to be focused on this and not distracted with context switching and whatnot. And the perspective both of you guys came from was building an app, a non-technical person. Hey, here's some advice if you're gonna get into the software engineering space or in that technical space, you still gotta consider all of these other technical things that you don't know, like be open to learning or whatnot. But also there's the idea of a non-technical person seeing AI, they want to build, they want to start somewhere. Everyone say start with a prompt, right? I mean, but these tools today allow you to do things in seconds, right? Like think about those ideas. I did something a little too much. I have my it ain't doing nothing yet. I just want to see if it's possible, and I have a little Claude reading my iMessage DB on my Mac. I didn't know that was possible, but it's possible. So literally, it can read my text, and if I wanted, I could make it actually respond. Yeah, and that's like security.
Yeah, I'm sure I want to do that.
Yeah, no. So are you using Claude to do that with?
I actually wrote a script to do it. Claude helped me build it, but the script does the work, and then based on certain parameters, I can actually make it call the Claude API for answers.
Yeah. So I learned something the other day, and it's interesting, and maybe food for thought about having it read your text messages. We've talked about this in the past about how the subscription services are heavily subsidized. And somebody actually went out and did the math recently, right? So the $200 a month personal Claude subscription actually gives you $8,000 a month worth of tokens. Like if you're paying through the API of $8,000 to use that same number of tokens. But one of the things that they're doing on the personal accounts, and I didn't realize this, and I actually went through and read it when I signed up for it. Maybe it changed, maybe it didn't. They are using all of your prompts and sessions for training data.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't. I thought there was an opt-out for that.
I thought so too.
There is on the enterprise one, but they started making, if you're using Mythos or Fable, which we don't have access to right now, but if you're using Mythos or Fable, that opt-out is available. I think that's actually part of their anti-jailbreak solution, or was part of their anti-jailbreak solution until they were forced to pull it back from everybody. But yeah, so if you want your text messages and the training data and the public space, Clint.
Don't worry, it's not doing it. When I realized I couldn't do it, I stopped. I paused.
Yeah, all those 2FA codes, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into some solutions. I want to talk about you taking that idea that you posted on originally, Tony, and David, you as well, considering today's world, considering AI, and tell the viewers, right? Not just based on non-technical. I give you the option to pick whatever solution you want, but lay it out step by step to solve it. You can do this. You can give a non-technical solution, like, hey, if you want to keep track of your health, do this, right? Or like, if I was to rebuild this app again, these are the exact steps I'm gonna take, and these are the top 3 things I'm gonna focus on. All right. And you know, try your best. This is the hardest part because we're technical.
Right.
Layman terms.
Right. Not technical. Yeah. I mean, I would lay it out similar to a recipe, right? I know there's a lot of, there's an endpoint that everybody has in mind, right? That's the cake, if you're baking a cake, right? And that's whatever concept idea you have when you're starting to go in with AI.
Yeah.
So you really should break down your AI in a way that breaks up the recipe, right? Figure out what the ingredients are. Figure out, what's that big time type deal, right?
When you said break down AI, what do you mean?
So, okay. So if you're going to use AI to build whatever your long-term thing is, you want to, at that point, I think, maybe even just ask it, how long would it take? If it's an app, how long will this take a software engineer to do? Right? Like have it tell you that, so that you have a good idea, okay. And then ask it, for example, what are the steps that, senior, junior, whatever, level engineer would take to build this. Right? It has this information. It should know. I mean, most of this stuff, everything can be broken down into smaller chunks.
Right.
That's the idea. You want to break it down into a smaller chunk and a smaller part. It's like if you're baking a cake, you have your dry ingredients, you have your wet ingredients. You're mixing those, you're mixing the wet together, you mix the dry together before you mix them all together. You don't put them all together at once, right? Because you'll get all that powdery stuff all over the place, and it won't bake right.
Right.
It tells you preheat your oven. It does that for a reason. Like if you put it in cold, it's going to cook unevenly.
Right.
So do that with whatever you're asking your AI to do, right? Have these are an app is essentially, in this case, a recipe, right? And it's a recipe for whatever the end product is. Most of these end products have already been made and already been built. AI has scoured LLMs and specifically has scoured legally and illegally, information, right? And so it has at the very least references to how long these things will take and should take and what steps they should take. Ask it that if you're building if that's what you're trying to do, ask it those type of questions. And then, start, don't have it do the whole thing, because if you're trying to build and learn, have it guide you through those steps.
How do you prevent yourself from straying from the recipe?
Well, this is probably not, I'm probably not the right person to ask that, because I when I'm cooking, I stray from the recipes all the time.
A little extra salt.
Yeah, add a little extra vanilla, add a little extra, some things from here and there. Might pull some things out. I'll sub out, something like applesauce instead of an egg for something, if I want to kind of have a different type of flavor to it.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily the right person to ask, but for something like that, yes, you want to end up, just lay out a plan, and then try to follow the plan as closely as possible.
Makes sense. Makes sense. David, what's your answer? Hello, Egan. By the way, we're asking the question for non-technical people how we would either tackle our old projects that we skipped out, or also just how would a non-technical person approach building a useful app today, or with their mind, trying to look at the right things.
I really love the break it down. Tony's break it down. I don't think I do that enough, and I think that I'm too ADD, so I'm thinking about 5 different features all at once, and it's trying to code all 5 features all at once because I'm saying, oh, but what about this?
Well,
focus is I think an overriding. I could plug several different topics into the word focus. And one thing that I find that AI has a hard time scoping stuff, because like Tony again was saying, is it basing it off of like a standard developer group of 2 front ends, 2 back ends, a QA, blah 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 blah? Because that's what it usually gives me weeks of when I ask for timelines or time things, and and I'm like, dude, you just said that for the last thing we built 20 minutes ago, so I've been trying to ask it more like level of effort and lines of code, to get better scoping out of it. But those are just my random thoughts.
Makes sense. David?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to planning. I think like Tony alluded to, but I would say, the number one question you can ask is, who is it for, and what are the expectations going to be? What is it that you're not thinking of that user group might want, right? So in my case, the users would be, shop owners or shop employees and clientele of, the coffee shop. So what are their expectations? Gather those, then say, okay, what is the right way to write this? What is the right way to structure it? And then, start going from there. But making sure you get that good foundation of who is it for, and what's the right way to do it. What's the right way to approach it? What are the problems we need to solve?
Those are all excellent.
So, are you saying do your research, get some research prompts, and kind of have that research conversation before you start building?
Yeah, and you want each of those looked at from who are the different actors that are going to be present, that are going to be using what it is you're building, right? Maybe the actor is just you. That's fine, but
okay. That makes sense. Like if a non-technical person is trying to enter into the technical world, they got to take their big stuff, break it down. Well, do their research first, understand the market, build some personas, right? And then once they start to work, try not to drip from the recipe, but build a recipe and knock it out in smaller chunks.
One of the ways to knock one chunk out at a time, I've seen this variation of a prompt a couple places, but you ask, what is the single most important thing that we ought to be working on right now? And that brings it down to a razor edge. Not what's the top 3 or top 5, but what's the single most important thing we ought to be doing for this architecture, or I ought to be doing for my business. I mean, it's what a CEO asks himself, what is the single most important thing I ought to be working on to keep my business afloat or succeed?
Yeah. That's really good. When you're building, you're constantly going back and forth, approving or whatever. There's prompt engineering, which is what we all alluding to. And recently I saw an article that prompt engineering is dead, and now we have engineering loop or prompt loop or something like that. What it is
engineering.
What's it called?
Context engineering.
No, this had a loop in it. And the idea was you want to prompt it so much that it keeps checking itself and it keeps
okay.
That's
okay.
Kind of re-prompting itself so it can keep going until it completes the pie.
Is harness another word for that?
David and I just started to argue about what's in harness.
Time to go.
The harness is the algorithm, the software that surrounds the model, right? So can a harness do that? From my perspective, yeah. Right, it can keep injecting at a certain rhythm some sort of micro prompt to say.
Well, they talk about like the agentic, really just being a big while loop,
Yeah.
I mean, this feels like they're trying to just rename something. It's still prompt engineering. It's a looping prompt, right? It's literally what it is. Like you task it to do something, it comes back with some information, and it's a feedback loop where essentially, I guess what they're trying to say is you might have an agent instead of you in that, so that it's talking back and forth.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's literally still 2 different LLMs talking to each other.
I agree, and the intuition that comes from a human, this as the feedback loop, I think is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
I heard a new one this week, like you've got human in the loop, and then I heard a new one called human over the loop. Like the agent was looping itself and the human was just over it, not necessarily else. Like, okay.
What is the human doing? It's just watching it?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Always over.
I think the person that wrote that's a little loopy.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask all you guys this quick question, right? Given your experience building, right, and the challenges and pitfalls, I'm calling them pitfalls, not failures, because we always learn, right? If you were to talk to a non-technical person right now, give them one thing that they can start to focus on if they are to build. And like, let's say their dream is for an app, but they want to start something that is of value right now. What would you tell them? Think about telling your non-technical mom or brother or sister or friend, hey, if you want to start AI, start doing this and you will get value out of it now. Well, what would that be? Who would like to go?
Learning is the value. And you learn by playing.
Yeah, but what would they play with? What would you suggest they build or get or do?
Well, take when you say build, that puts a lot of importance and bigness and onus and engineering, like but play is small, simple, sweet. You don't have to have a goal. You don't have to have something that you're working toward. You don't have to have an outcome, a tool that comes out the end that makes you millions of dollars. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Just fucking play.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. That's how we learn as babies, is we play.
Facts. Thanks, Egan. That's a really good one. Play to think about like play instead of building.
Mhm.
You could use it to explore your interests and what gaps there are that in the space of something you can build. Right?
So
If you're-
research, pretty
Yeah.
much saying. So what tools should they use for that? I heard I haven't used it. I heard a lot of things about Perplexity is great for research.
I think that any of the LLMs are going to be fine for having a conversation like that with. Like, you just goes like, hey, these are the things I'm interested in. I'm looking for a project. I want to build something. These are things I'm interested in. Let's find something that is adjacent to this that is an unsolved problem.
Yeah, basically
Or-
start with what bothers you.
Yeah, or an underrepresented problem, maybe not necessarily unsolved, but
Yeah, that's what I say. I would say start with what's bothering you. Like, what is it that you want? What do you want out of it, and what is it that you would, what do you want to see?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if I tell you like my kids this, like I want to build something. Now I know I need to tell them they need to go play, right? But what do they start of interest? So here's one. I gave you mine. My answer is to at least let it summarize your email. So back in the day, you guys are familiar with email has rules. So what email comes in, it puts the label or what folder in it. So I'm using my my Google Workspace to look in that label in that space and see if there's any new email and send me a message using Google text or Google Hangouts or whatever it is, and then it pops up on my phone. It's something I would do anyway. I'll get up and I'll open my inbox and I'm gonna look at my inbox. But now it just kind of summarizes it for me. It's quick, it's easy. It's some automation in there clearly, but there's also an AI piece. Is really small and easy. It's a tiny prompt. So like from that's the standpoint, Tony, what would you suggest in
if you're talking about like some sort of email thing?
No, well, mine was an email.
If you have a tiny problem, or not even a tiny problem, if there's something that you're doing that's like super repetitive, something that you're doing that you takes an hour out of your day, which you would rather be doing something else. You would start by asking the question, okay, how can I simplify this? How can I make this so that I don't have to take an hour a day doing this? Right. I mean, you just start with a very basic question.
I have a problem. Help me solve it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
very basic question.
How do we know that Tony's an engineer? There's a really old joke that anytime an engineer has to do something twice, they're going to spend several days figuring out how to automate it.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
This is why I said an hour, right? It's taking longer than an hour to do it. Then maybe you might want to automate it.
Yeah, this is the thing that we've all run up against how many hundreds of times over the course of our careers. Like, should I script this or should I just manually get it done? And you don't have to ask that question anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask that question anymore. Scripted. Well, that was already the answer, but yeah.
I think this was a great conversation. We kind of got into picking our brain about how you build and how you would suggest new people starting to build or play. So I'm about to close out, and what I'd like you to do is give me one tip for the non-technical people, and then when you finish with that, just one last thing of who you are and your business or what you're building. So who would like to go first? And I like when I get silence, I just pick someone. This is good.
Yeah, like a tip.
Yeah, what from lessons learned from that first story you told us, or even your current build? What's one tip to stick in those new builders' mind?
Keep it simple.
Start
Start
small. Yeah, just get started. They do things to
I like that.
get
Yeah.
started.
Just do it. Yeah. It goes back to just do it. You
Yeah,
know?
get started. Like there's a lot of times where, like I said, like earlier that story, you know, I was in Chicago, you know, and it ended up starting it in Texas, right? I could just start it in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to wait. You know, sometimes you just want to just do it, right? I mean, it's really the simplest thing, and it's not necessarily going to be a failure. It's just going to be, you know, something that you've learned how to do, and there's no shame in that, right? It's something that you just did. If it worked, it works. If it didn't, it didn't, and you've learned something from that too.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That learning is valuable. Is way valuable.
Agreed.
One of my mentors very, very early on, right there when I probably showed me how to view source, and he would always say, he taught all sorts of people. He would always say, "Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Your computer's not going to bite you." You know.
Yeah, just start it and get it going.
Yeah. Keep it simple. Keep it small.
Tony, name and
So Tony Brooms with CEO of Ola Billy.
thank you, man. David, how about you? What's your one thing?
I can't give you one. I have to give you two. So the first one is no matter what you're building, always build it to never trust the user. Users are not to be trusted. They will break things. Build it to not be broken by the user or abused. Number two is you can go and look it up if you want, but just anytime you start building something, tell it to build it in 3NF. You want your data in 3NF.
3NF?
Yeah, third normal form.
Oh.
You will have to explain that to a non-technical person.
Yeah, I know. We got to explain that another day.
It does. Well, it has to do with data architecture and the way that things are associated with each other. But if you just prompt it and tell it, no matter what, put it in 3NF, and it'll save you a lot of time and headache in the future. And you can go and learn about what that is later. But yeah, those are the two things. My name's David.
8.3?
Say that again, Egan.
Is that like 8.3 file naming?
Oh no, it's like a normalization. It's like a normalization.
Yeah. It has to do with relationship.
Database
Relationships with your data. It's a database thing, but it also like just data structure thing. Yeah. Go look it up, Egan.
Good, David. I think David.
Yeah. So I'm my name's David Thiel. Long-term technology executive, and out there building stuff right now that we're not quite ready to talk about. So we'll do it soon.
We can't wait. Egan, how about you? What's your tip, and then your name and what you building?
My name is Egan Jones, and I work on Beep because it's a little highest top secret, and Beep Beep, and it's really Beep cool, and super fluidic CEO, helping people build stuff. Yeah.
What's your tip?
Oh, what's my tip? I think keep it simple, keep it short, keep it small, have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining Tech Wing Bites. If this sparks any questions or comments, put it in the chat. I'll talk to you guys later.